the 37 military hospital towards where President Kufuor lives. And you'd understand that almost every afternoon, between 12 and 2 o'clock, there is traffic there on the aviation road stretch towards the airport. And I'm talking about Accra. I don't know the situation in Takoradi as we speak, or Kumasi as we speak. This is the time you need to find the police MTTD on the road. And sometimes on weekends, on Sundays, you are returning from church or you are going to visit somebody around the time church is closed. You see so much traffic, you don't find them on the road. And so I always ask myself, does the police MTTD rest on weekends? It's a question I'm asking. I should know by now, but I'm asking this provocative question. Does the police MTTD only operate at night? When you have finished working, you are tired, you want to go home, that is when they'll be on the road, stopping every vehicle and just looking into the faces of people and asking you, how are you? The look on their faces does not suggest that they are looking for a suspicious character. They just look at you, say hi, and traffic builds up. Just try the Gimpa stretch and you would understand what I'm talking about. Or try the stretch towards the University of Professional Studies, that's the East Legon enclave towards Mensvik Hotel. I'm still talking about Accra. This is the time, and I'm speaking directly to the police MTTD commander, that because you have an appreciation of traffic build-up situation in Accra, then you deploy your men. People become appreciative when the lawlessness on the road stops because of the uniform they see standing around. And this is my simple message to all of us. I'm taking it away from the accident that happened, for example, around the Tesano stretch. The police go on night patrol duties. Perhaps you and I as individuals could have also called the police that there's a broken down vehicle. This is a stretch that can see cars driving at top speed, especially at the times of the day when you don't see too much traffic. That road is very good. And 2 people died. And I'm sure you know that as soon as the accident occurred, that vehicle or that truck was towed away. The story may end there, but lives are lost. People may not get any form of compensation. I don't know if I can sue the Ghana Police Service, for example, for failing to act on a certain stretch that results in an accident, because it is their responsibility. If anything at all, they can tow that car, ask the owner of the car to pay a fine for leaving that car on the stretch or for failing to call any towing service to come and address the issue. I believe it will still be the same conversations we've been having, but let's take lessons individually. Ask yourself, as you are moving away from your home to the office, are you coming back safe? Are you coming back maimed? Or would you be asking people to call your family because you are almost collapsing or almost getting into coma at the hospital? Please, let's reflect. Let's think about Ghana, and that is what will help us. We'll be taking some weather reports and some tidbits, and when we come back, we're talking about what the newspapers are also reporting about this morning.
always stop self-medicating. If you're feeling some way in some part of your body, go to the pharmacy or to the hospital and get it checked. Also, whilst we are on motivation, Eric, leave me alone. Whilst we are on motivation, we'll take today's motivational message from Obobia Darko Opoku.
Hello. Pause for 3 is a 3-minute motivational presentation brought to you by FlexiPay, Endless Possibilities. My name is Obobia Darko Opoku. Get inspired. Do you know one of the greatest lessons I think COVID-19 has taught us all? It is that we can actually take some break off work and our busy schedules. This pandemic has disrupted our lives, halted our growth, and brought tears to many homes. You must always remember to wear your mask wherever you are and continue to wash your hands often or use a sanitizer in order to stay alive and help stop the spread of the virus. As devastating as it has been, however, the period of lockdown taught us many lessons. One of them is that we can, when everything returns to normal, actually take a break from work. And you know what I will do with my time? Get myself a good treat. Yes, too often we let the stress of our everyday life take the better part of us. Taking some time off to pamper yourself is not only a great way to release stress, it is also very necessary if we are to stay healthy both physically and mentally. When we run these 365 days of everyday activity, including our Sunday after church rounds, Saturday funerals, etc., what we are actually doing is denying our body and soul the pampering that they also deserve to keep us physically and mentally healthy. Let's make a commitment to pamper ourselves a little. You do not need a special occasion or a special person before pampering yourself. There are thousands of small, mindful things you can do to spark joy in your day. Once in a while, enjoy a good massage or get a manicure and pedicure. You can also indulge in a facial or book a night in a fancy hotel and treat yourself to some good relaxation and meals. What about buying that bag or dress you have been eyeing for some time? Or walk into that restaurant and have some good meal. Treating yourself every once in a while might seem like a luxury, but it could be a worthwhile investment in yourself for your own well-being and happiness. Let's do it. Be kind to yourself. It doesn't cost much. Make an effort to pamper yourself on purpose. My name is Obobia Darko Opoku, and I bring you Pause for 3 minutes every Monday and Thursday on Xyz Morning Update. Thank you, FlexiPay, Endless Possibilities, for your sponsorship.
Like I said, always Obobia Darko Opoku motivating us and giving us some inspiration with regards to life. You were saying something earlier about the self-medication.
I know a lot of men take self-medication Saturday mornings.
Are you sure this is not a personal?
They take is para and take it because they want to kill hand.
And this is not a personal testimony. Is this not a personal testimony?
Oh, not really. I'm just telling you what I know. I read a lot.
Right.
And sometimes on a Saturday you wake up and you understand what I'm talking about. And then they will talk about, fapara. Some will say drink water. I would prefer what Obobia said. Go for routine massage.
But this morning I heard you talking about.
Massage your face.
I heard you talking about road accidents this morning.
What does colors mean to women?
Colors? Well,
or your choice or preference for colors in terms of the dresses you wear and the makeup.
Personally, is the colors that suit my skin tone. So then there are colors that complement your skin tone, and there are others that fight it. So mostly you stay away
the
from
combination. The dress matched with your
lipstick.
And today I was expecting that it would have been blue. If you had put on blue lipstick, what would it mean? The red on you with the uniform, what would it mean? I'm just asking. For
some reason, I think that certain colors are not seen as corporate colors when in terms of lipstick. So then if I'd put on the blue with my blue, it would probably seem more like I'm going somewhere, like out to maybe dinner, have fun.
So you are not answering my question. I said, what does colors mean to you when you...
And sometimes the occasion where you're going, so and then mostly your skin tone.
You could have decided to put yellow.
Not necessarily. If yellow doesn't suit my skin tone, then I can't put on yellow. Okay. So mostly a lot of factors come into play.
I'll come and learn something from you.
Now, as we are talking about learning, this morning when we're coming here, a school bus was overtaking about 7 cars.
7?
Yes, and the unfortunate thing is it happened at a T-junction. So obviously he couldn't have known which car was coming because the very car that was ahead of that traffic was a bigger car. So there's no way he could have seen ahead of it. Exactly. And he nearly crashed into ours. And this is a school bus. And remember about somewhere last month we spoke about a school bus also crashing with about over 30 students in there. So if I don't feel safe putting my child in a school bus, I think there should be some sort of speedometers put in the cars.
Some of the schools have boldly written on the back of the car
not all the
that
schools.
In case the car is going beyond a certain number of kilometers, call those lines and report. Maybe all of us must be responsible citizens. And so let's look around for some of these things, take pictures. I've seen a couple on social media, not really about the school buses. But you see, it's an unfortunate situation many parents go through. The inconvenience. Imagine you are working at a bank. You have to be at the bank by 8 o'clock. You can't drop your child and come. So I would rather advise that the PTAs should go back to the schools and make it mandatory for the drivers to behave in certain ways on the streets.
Yes.
Because you have paid for a service and they overload these buses.
Most of them.
COVID-19 protocols are virtually ignored, and these may be coming from homes which are maybe underprivileged. And the best the schools, especially the private schools, can do for them is to give them the satisfactory services that they opt for.
Everybody is trying to maximize profits even when they are not supposed to.
It's a good advice this morning, Abra. Let's start with the newspapers.
Another school bus has one light, and I meet that bus most of the time because I leave the house early.
I would
one light.
Just take the video. And you always move at night.
Yes, dawn. I always move, and I always meet this bus with one light. The first time I thought it was a motorbike.
Daily Graphic on its front page has the biggest story, which will trend because of the national consensus on how to end the Galamsey menace. It is also talking about how to boost the local mining industry. This has been a conversation since President Kufuor's time, and it has been escalating over the years. And today, all of us know the state of either local mining, if you want to call it, or small scale, or Galamsey, as some of us want to categorize them. The banner headline comes with a picture of the president as he launched the initiative yesterday, consensus building. And then Agogohene calls for investment in human resource. All these are captured on the front page of the Daily Graphic. The back page talks about the controversial Pokwase interchange project. Government claims it is its initiative, and some Ghanaians say there is a lot of evidence showing what former president John Dramani Mahama did before he left office. The project started, was ongoing, was suspended for almost a year, either for investigations. Otherwise, by now, that stretch should have been completed. So that's the controversy around. So anytime I go on social media, you see that the government activists on social media put information there about the effort Nana Akufo-Addo's government is doing. Then you see the NDC social media activists also come with evidence of perhaps the launch or some activity before that time, and so there's a claim over whose project it is.
Shouldn't that be stopped? Because this is the reason why most actually the two major political parties come into power and then they dump projects that were started by the other parties.
No, it's a two-way affair. First of all, society, in my opinion, should put pressure on any government to continue projects.
Yes,
two, the claim to some of these projects is for one reason.
Political.
It is to show commitment by regimes over the period and what they can claim as the effort they put in to build the country.
All I hear is political.
Maybe we may have to cap as the project we execute within a period. Why would you put your nose in several projects and you can't complete all, and there's a change of government and somebody has the option to also initiate his own or complete the other one? Somebody will say it's mine or yours. So we may have to take a look at what projects we want to do within a certain period and ensure we finish it. I listened to a conversation on one of the radio stations when I was driving home, and a member of parliament on, I think, on the Roads or Highways Committee of Parliament or something related was saying that we need about $4 billion to dualize almost all the major highways in the country. And it is not easy raising $4 billion.
Exactly.
So the person asking the question said, wouldn't it make sense if we decide that over the next 15 years we are going to dualize our roads, and so we want to do it on in phases? So we are taking the Accra-Kumasi stretch. We should finish that in 2 years, and then you put all the resources together and finish that one. When you finish, you move to another one than to wait and raise all the money, which may never come. But that's it. Center Spread Daily Graphic says President Akufo-Addo signs book of condolence for Prince Philip. Yesterday, the former president also signed, and that information came out. And then released textbooks of new curriculum. Ghana National Association of Teachers is demanding that the new textbooks for the new curriculum must come out. So those are the stories I have for you from the Daily Graphic.
Right, the stories on the front page of the Ghanaian Times actually also talks about the president and Galamsey. So at the National Consultative Dialogue on Small-Scale Mining, President slams political actors for politicizing Galamsey, whereas Pokwase interchange under threat by reckless drivers. Ekrapin Polo is also making headlines today. Now court to determine fate of Ekrapin Polo. Tomorrow on Friday, we did mention that she posted a picture of herself and her son in nude. I think nude. They were nude, exactly. So the
nude
exactly. Now they're saying that that is domestic violence, and so she has to pay for it. Now 15 also perish in road crashes, and on the back page, Tama Metro NCCE intensifies COVID-19 education, whereas Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa to enhance women's performance in agribusiness, which I think is very...
This Polo thing, think about it. I support the action by the court. It will serve as a deterrent. So good. I sympathize with her, and I wish maybe the court may find her.
Will be a bit lenient.
Yes, that's my plea. Now, I don't have control over the court, but the question is, she has abused the child because she was almost naked and took a picture with a naked child, and it is an issue of concern to the state to the extent that she must be punished because social media was angry. Does it make sense to the same state called Ghana when we have a lot of parents ignoring their responsibilities and abusing children on daily basis because they have left them to their fate? Go to Jamestown here. I'm talking about Neil and Van der Poel's constituency. Go to Teshi, former Okoboy, or today I think the NDC MP, I've forgotten the name for the area. I'm talking about Lejokuku. Go to the community there and you see abuse of children on daily basis. You just forget about the several deprived communities in Ghana where people say, Miniska, Minibintimawo, Meja Kwalano. Is it an abuse? If it is an abuse, which one is even going to impact the child more? And social welfare department is there, these assemblies are there, unit committees, assembly members, nobody cares. And you are chasing this lady.
Well,
well,
because the thing is that, look, let's be honest, sometimes even at home you do that in front. The mistake she made is with the fact that she posted the picture on social media.
So that is how hypocritical you and I and many Ghanaians are. We are dealing with this because social media was angry and there was a call for some action to be taken. So the Attorney General's Department or the prosecutor working in the name of the state has gone ahead and the court has taken a decision. I am saying that children are abused on a daily basis in many parts of this country, and assemblies have powers under the Children's Act. How are we enforcing it? That's my anger. That's my disappointment. I mean, I don't know whether...
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't. Not at all. Because then why do we have to wait every time for people to make noise about a particular issue before they attack that particular issue? And sometimes, if you really think about it, I mean, it's something that we can't be lenient about. Initially, they charged her 100,000 Ghana cedi as, was it fine or something? And then now she's actually going to be put in custody for this. I mean, fine, give her community service.
Well,
please.
I've been speaking to Mina Mensah, and this issue also comes up. Maybe one day we'll bring her to the studio about some of these penalties or offenses and the actions they take and all blah, 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 blah. Let's pray. But I am saying that let us go a step forward. Does it make sense for anybody to argue that we see people kissing, smooching, doing all kinds of things, hot afternoon? Hot afternoon. Sometimes it confuses me when I'm working and I glance at the
Eric,
I'm a human being.
That's stress now.
Wait, no,
that's
you understand
now.
Abena,
it's time for the news.
Look,
and Wisdom Header Jobber is on standby, so he will be coming with the news. We'll be right back.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
I love makeup. Applying it gives me so much joy. But when it's time to take it off, nothing does the job quite like the Black Secret Makeup Wipes. When I go somewhere and I feel really sweaty, I take my Black Secret wipe and I use it on my face. It picks me up and I don't look as tired as I did when I walked in.
Before I work on a client's face, I like to go over it with Black Secret makeup wipes to make sure the face is clean. It doesn't leave the face dry and tight, but it keeps it soft and moisturized.
Wipe say your bodo. Bakope, and it gets the job done. Or baby, and the smell makes the experience even better.
Welcome back to the morning updates. As I stated, it's time for the news, and Wisdom Header Jobber is here. Good morning, Wisdom.
Good morning, Havana. It's
How
Monday, Thursday. I love Thursdays. Yeah.
It's okay. Tell us what is happening around the world.
Well, coming up in this edition, EU Observer Mission report on just ended 2020 elections stoked some controversies, but ends up with some strong recommendations, which I share highlight and reactions to you this morning. Also, drama in court as judge orders respondent in the Techiman South case to respond to interrogatories, slapping them with 2,000 cedis. Also, GWCL served notice supply to Tema Ashama Enclave will be cut for major works on the bone treatment plant for the next 5 days amidst the crisis that residents will be facing, and Gore accident claims 15 lives within a day. We have details of these and other stories coming up. Grateful for your company this morning. Let's begin the bulletin from the EU Observer Mission report, which critics say stopped short of addressing critical issues that dented the credibility of the EC, is raising eyebrows and relevance of such bodies in future elections. Now, it strongly recommends that for the electoral reforms has been widely accepted with the hope that it may water down the anticipated violence in the 2024 elections. Should be a bad precedent if the current state continues unchanged. Now, before we hear some reactions here, extract of the 95-page document.
The 95-page report, among other things, generalizes the process as relatively free and fair. As expected, it made reference to incumbency abuse, absence of regulations on campaign financing, unregulated campaign, infractions in the collation of results are some constituencies, some of which are currently being contested in court, among others. Key among EU's priority recommendations are 1. Clear procedures and directives for presiding and returning officers, as well as regional coalition officers, on how to handle disputes or irregularities during the counting and collation process, including overvoting, mismatched reconciliation, incomplete and wrongly filled in result forms. 2. Need for EC to publish on its website detailed polling station results for all elections, as well as detailed results from all levels of collation before the deadline for filing petitions. 3. Review parliamentary constituency boundaries to adequately provide for equal suffrage to avert the gerrymandering similar to what affected the people of Santro Kofi Akpafu and other communities under what is now referred to as Sol in the Oti region. 4. Establishment of an inclusive mechanism for cross-party involvement in the selection and approval of EC chair and other commissioners, and with a reasonable limited tenure of office in order to build stakeholder confidence and enhance independence of the body. These, according to the EU Observer Mission report, will prevent manipulation during the registration, polling, counting, and results collation procedures to ensure a credible process. 5. Need for EC to work with full transparency, making all information of public interest immediately and easily accessible, including decisions, full statistical data on voter and candidate registration, as well as detailed polling, counting, and collation procedures. 6. Adopt a law on campaign expenditure and finance, including disclosure requirements of incomes and expenses for both parties and candidates and limits on expenditure and donations. 7. Establish a reasonable deadline for court ruling on parliamentary election petitions at the High Court and Court of Appeal. Parliamentary elections petitions be commenced within 21 days after declaration of results, just like presidential election petitions.
Now, a senior lecturer at the Accra Technical University, who is among those worried about the false impression created by the EU Observer Mission report, said about the general election, says the credibility of the EC has been verified is worrying. Now, Dr. Ibrahim Zubairu, who spoke to TVXYZ News, said lingering issues need serious redress to avert a national security crisis in 2024.
The lecturer described the EU report in 2 words: incomplete and unsatisfactory. In his opinion, the 2020 elections had serious issues shrouded in secrecy, with some strange protection offered to electoral body to manipulate the process. He cited the EU's report's silence on critical matters, including sidelining of IPAC, issues associated with compilation of the voters register, which is key to credible polls, process leading to the declaration, and the declaration itself is surprising.
The report is not complete, so to speak. When it comes to issues of the 2020 elections, I believe a lot of things went wrong that I expected the EU not to lose sight of. One of the major issues there is the process leading to the declaration of the results.
Dr. Ibrahim Ziberu warned that the lingering issue may set the stage for serious national security issues in 2024. He said the president set means candidates can boldly declare themselves winners even before EC announcement and run with it.
We are quiet watching everything, so next elections is going to be a different thing altogether.
How different is that going to be?
Yes. So now everybody will declare, irrespective of whatever is there. Isn't it? That is what the Supreme Court wanted, and they did what they did. It's going to be more difficult than it had been before. There's going to be more wahala with accepting things than it had been before.
He said peace is a collective commodity and any attempt to suppress the masses could backfire. He said if observer missions compromise the truth, it waters down their relevance, and that in itself is dangerous.
You see, you cannot suppress peace for a long time. You can't suppress it for a long time. You can't suppress the patience of the people for a long time. One day we'll come to realization that those who preach that and never call for correction to be done, they'll be the same people who will be contended with some of the mistakes they made, instead of them speaking, calling for right thing to be done before we talk about the peace.
We'll still stay with election-related issues because this time the court hearing the petition challenging the result declared by the EC in favor of the NPP Techiman South candidate has adjourned hearing to 29th of this month. The judge said he will not take lightly the failure of the respondent to comply with an earlier directive to the Electoral Commission returning officer in charge of Techiman South results, Nana Dramina, now present in court to support of the petitioners, were General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Asidu Nketia, 2020 parliamentary candidate of the NDC, and other party officials. The interrogatories include whether the coalition was done before the declaration. 2, if it was done, evidence must be produced by the Electoral Commission in Techiman South within 7 days. On inspection of documents, the respondents have also been ordered by the court to make the document available to the petitioner by next Monday, 19th April by 2 p.m. at the registrar's office in Wenchi. A cost of 2,000 cedis has been awarded to the petitioner. The judge has warned he is not ready to drag the case and will ensure speedy adjudication and ensure people of Techiman South will have a representation in Parliament without any legal issues. Now, the General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Asidu Nketia, says the party will soon begin series of national engagement with internal structures to take stock of the 2020 electoral defeat. Now, he tells TVX as the news national executives have already met with their MPs and all is set for the maiden review meeting to plan the party reorganization for the elections.
We have to hit the ground running. And because of that, by I think next weekend, we return from one workshop with our MPs that was aimed at, in fact, it was the MPs initiative and we were invited to participate. It was aimed at team building. So all the challenges that we went through in the last quarter and so on, they are behind us now. And then the party itself is going to hold another review meeting and plan activities for the years ahead. There are several activities that will begin from reorganization of the party from branch level, constituency level, regional level to national level. Then after that, you begin presidential primaries and then other preparations that will lead to 2024.
Away from that, and the Ghana Water Company is asking residents of Tema and Ashaima and their surrounding communities to start storing enough water to sustain them for 5 days within next week. Now, the company says it will shut down 8 treatment plant, and this will affect supply on Tuesday, the 23rd of April.
The disruption in supply to the affected communities follows routine maintenance work on the Kpong water treatment plant next week. According to a statement issued by the Ghana Water Company Limited, the exercise takes effect from next Tuesday, April 20 to Friday, April 23. Affected communities include the entire Tema Township, that is communities 1 to 12, Tema New Town, Tema Industrial, Kpong, Gulf City, Bediakon, parts of VRA, Saki, Community 25 and the Tema General Hospital. Customers in Ashaiman, specifically the Timber Market, Tulaku, Bethlehem, Jericho, Lebanon, Sabrepo, Kakasunanka, Michelle Camp, Boteman, Santo, Ashaiman Sun City and the main township will also be affected. The statement did not spell out arrangements for facilities running essential services such as the General Hospital and other institutions, but only advised consumers to store enough water before the interruption.
Now a follow-up for clarity and measures to cushion facilities running essential services. Drew Blank, Director of Public Affairs and Communications at the Ghana Water Company, Stanley Mate, says management is still exploring options and may avert the crisis if possible to cut the supply. Now Xyz News has been speaking to residents of the communities likely to be affected, and many seem surprised. They claim there's no public announcement and the decision may result in crisis, especially as they manage to do with no water in this situation.
Very shocked to me even to hear from you that they are locking the tap on Tuesday, because we, the user of the water, we are customers. That we are regular customers, that we serve the community, and we are not well known. So when this thing comes on, it's going to affect us a lot. Even in our area, those who defecate on the gutters, they are going to make good use of the place. Because when all the toilets are closed, if you watch at my place, you will see the containers I have. That's the only thing that we have to reserve water over. Apart from this, we don't have anything to reserve water.
They'll help she say, yes, you know. Any soon a bibia, and soon a dear bibia. And so much to pipe on the ever higher pa. So I name some better.
Now, a book of condolence has been opened by the British High Commission here in Accra for late Prince Philip, and our former President John Mahama was among those who signed the book yesterday after President Nana Akufo-Addo.
Former President John Dramani Mahama signed a book of condolence opened by the British High Commission in Accra for the late Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, yesterday. In a brief Facebook post, the former president wrote, and I quote, "I signed a book of condolence opened at the British High Commission in Accra for Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. He lived a long and fulfilling life during which he touched the lives of many across the world, especially young people. At this time, our hearts go out to Queen Elizabeth II and the royal family. May his gentle soul find peaceful repose." The Duke of Edinburgh, who died 6 days ago at 99, was married to the Queen for 73 years. Military rehearsals have taken place for his funeral. He will be remembered in a service at St. George's Chapel in the grounds of Windsor Castle this Saturday. His coffin, which is lying at rest in the private chapel at Windsor Castle, will be carried the short distance to the chapel using a modified Land Rover that the Duke helped to design. It will be draped with his personal flag, which reflects his Greek heritage and his British titles, and his naval cap and sword will be laid on top of it. Buckingham Palace said the plans very much reflected the Duke's wishes. Members of the public have been asked to stay away from the castle, with the ceremony to take place behind its walls, and an online book of condolence has been opened.
And on that note, we drop curtains on this morning's edition of News Morning Update. And as always, do log on to my xyzonline.com for more news stories and updates. Nana Abena Sewa Ochadi Ebonsu continues with Morning Update.
Oh, you're smart. You're smart. You have the names right.
I'm smart like that.
Thank you, Wisdom. Now, if you've ever heard of the derogatory, women don't take care of themselves after marriage, women do not take care of themselves after childbirth, they look big and etc., etc., then you might want to join me for this very conversation we'll be having on the social segment. Please, the numbers are 0204155888. I'll need you to call in so we have this conversation. If the women call, I'll be excited so that we can share our opinion and tell the men our mind. But before that, I'll take a quick turn and we'll be right back.
Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Welcome to Auto Check Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many Accra.
Sure.
Check, auto checks, check, auto checks, check.
Emission, check.
Check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks, check, auto checks.
Brakes, check. Visit Auto Checks at Koforidua Aquadrum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Auto checks.
Auto checks. Check.
Auto Checks. Your safety, our priority.
Check, auto checks.
So there's a saying that when they see where your makeup begins and ends, that is the end of you. So please, I advise that you get Black Secret makeup because it gives you the natural look. They have the cream to powder that when you put on, people can't even tell that you have the makeup on. And I tell you for a fact, if I didn't have my lipstick and probably haven't designed my brow a certain way, you wouldn't have known that I had makeup on. So Black Secret makeup is your go-to. Also, don't forget that if you're looking for distribution or you're looking to expand or put value on yourself, then we have business for you. X Natural Mineral Water. We would give you water to sell, to distribute, because the best water that you can find on the market, and so it will be easier for you to sell. Now this morning, as I indicated before we went for the commercial break, there is a lot that men say about women with regards to marriage, with regards to having children, but I feel like they would never understand from our point what we go through during pregnancies and childbirth. Sometimes they come to the hospital, they see you going through labor, and afterwards, that is what their personal experience, you know, just to tell you, hey, I didn't know, and yeah, grow. But they don't actually put themselves in our shoes to understand what we go through. Hardly do you find men reading about pregnancies and childbirth, knowing what goes on after the woman has given birth. There's postpartum depression that can actually kill the woman. And so you hear people say, oh, we are not and all of a sudden she's dead. and they don't understand why. If only men would take their time to go through pregnancy and childbirth and labor with us, then they will understand what we go through when we have a child. What way the man should at least stay. How many men take paternity leave to help their wives at home after childbirth? But the very crucial moments are between the 6 to 8 weeks that a woman has given birth. They need rest because you have to wake up every 3 hours to breastfeed a child. So I'm sorry, Cram. Your breast will wake you up because it will be too heavy. You will start leaking, and so say you have to wake up and feed the child. You have to take care of the dirty laundry. You need to make sure that family and friends that are coming to visit, you have to entertain them. But also the family and friends coming in also need to understand. Say you have gone through a life-changing moment after childbirth. There are physical changes, there are emotional changes that you go through. Just putting on weight puts a lot of stress on the person's mind, and so when you come around, give us some space. If I can't see you for 3 or 4 hours that you want to stay here for, most of the time when they come, they just want to come and gossip about the baby. So if you come and I don't have time to sit and talk with you, try to understand that I'm going through a lot. I haven't slept, I'm depressed, I'm stressed, etc., etc., etc. So if I leave you to go and rest, leave me to rest. Now this morning, I know, say you are out there, you have a lot that you can share with regards to this conversation. I am very hyped up about this conversation. Yesterday, even before this, we had some massive debate about this. So please join me and join the discussions on 020-4155-888, or you can also call on 020-415-59444. Let's have this conversation. I'm going to be a little biased, but I would prefer the women calling in more so that we can educate the men on what we go through during pregnancy and then childbirth, after childbirth. I know Wisdom is sitting here while shopping Nanu. He wants to have this debate with me, but me, I sharpened my mouth, my tongue, my teeth before I came this morning. Good morning, Wisdom.
Good morning again.
What were you saying? Say it for everybody to hear.
We talk about postpartum and all of those. I don't need.
Did you even know about this? Hold on. Did you know about this? Did you know about this?
I know about this.
Postpartum?
I knew about this. These are some more or less like the complications women suffer after childbirth. What are you telling me? I know. So exactly.
Give me examples.
Hold on, Abina. Now, I don't need to be in childbirth with you to understand your plight as a man. I don't need to be in the labor ward. Hold on. I don't want to be in the labor ward with you before I can understand the plight you face as a woman. I don't need to be nursing the baby with you together to understand the plight you face as a woman. Now, when all of these come to play, I am a man. I'm responsible. I know that as a woman, once you have pregnancy, you have childbirth, you have all of these, there are going to be complications. You get me? And so it shouldn't be that as a man, until you experience it yourself, you cannot help. No, that shouldn't be the case.
See, that shouldn't be the case. You see, you're not even listening properly.
Me, I was not listening.
And imagine if I have just given birth, you, my husband, I have said something to you, and you didn't pay attention. Do you know how ballistic that would make me go?
What did you
because
say
at that point, there's so many emotions going through my system. There's still the pregnancy emotion things still ongoing, and after going through. Do you know labor pain is between 16 to 22 hours?
Yes, I know.
That's how much time that you go through pain. Then I come back and I'm telling you something, you're not listening. I'm saying that when we give birth, okay, we expect that the man will go through this journey with us.
No, Abina, before you even continue,
some men will tell you that.
See, statistics have shown that.
How many men nurse babies are done? How many? Then they will use their jobs as an excuse.
No, you see, when you earlier said in your preamble that they are going to be biased, yes, and that is what you have started exhibiting. It's fine, yes, it's your opinion.
You see,
biasness, as you are doing, it's good. But you see, how many women are married happily with their husbands at home and are nursing their children? How many women are single mothers who are nursing their babies on their own? There are some people, they get pregnant by accident and they live on their own, and some make makeshift structures. They are there alone within that 9-month period, their first trimester, second, third, they do everything virtually by themselves. And these women don't say that, oh, because I don't have a man by my side, I'm not able to do A, B, C, D. And you are lucky to have a man by you in a room, in a house, happily living. And then you want to say that, okay, because my man is here, he should be doing A, B, C, D, and he's not doing, and so he's not right. And really, you don't do that.
Just because someone is doing it. Besides, you don't live with the person, and so you don't know if the person is actually getting help or not. And I can say this for a fact, that when I gave birth, if I didn't have my mother to help me through some of the things that, you know, I had to go through, then I probably wouldn't look the way that I look now. Because I normally take walks. I take very long walks. And this is like, well, for me, maybe I am blessed in that sense, because right after childbirth, I usually get back to form instantly. But I still do the exercise. I still allow my mother to tie my stomach with the cloth. So I don't even resort to the corsets. But my point is that if you don't have somebody doing all of this for you, taking care of your child so that you can exercise, taking care of your child during the day so that you can have some more rest, you know, or somebody to help you with the house chores, etc., etc., you will lose yourself. You will lose yourself. And you can attest to that fact. If you had gone through, let's say you've gone through a major surgery, you come back and you don't have help, how do you think you will survive?
You see, let's not create the impression
hold
that
on. There's a caller on the line. I want to hear what he or she has to say. Hello, good morning, and thank you for calling.
Yeah, good morning.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Edward. I'm calling from Paga in the Upper East region.
Oh, nice. So please tell us your opinion about what we are discussing.
I think the topic is an interesting one. What I've observed is that most men actually don't help their wives when
Thank you.
Yeah, but there are some few men that equally stretch a helping hand to their wives when they go through this process. Myself, for instance, when my wife gave birth, during the first 3 months, I was always helping wake up when she's sitting asleep, because you know you go through a lot of pain when you're giving birth. So I ensure that I stay awake to help her. At least each time the child is up, I will wake her up to breastfeed. It's good we help, but you know, women, some immediately you give them a helping hand, they want to take advantage. Every single thing they want you to do. I'm not saying that that's what my wife do, but I know most men, most women, that's what they do. And if your husband is giving you that helping hand, you shouldn't just think that it's something that he has to continue every single day. We work hard to take care of the family. We know you equally help. But if we give you that opportunity, don't abuse it. That aside, I have observed that your station, we have intermittent breakage in transmission. I don't know if you have noticed that, or if that has come to your table. If you can work on that for us, I will be glad. I watch a number of channels from where I sit, but I don't...
so is it radio or TV?
It's television.
Right.
TV.
TV.
Yeah.
Okay. We will take a look at that. We haven't so far gotten such feedback yet, but thank you.
Yeah, from where I watch, that is Paga precisely, I've been having that it goes off almost every 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, but I watch other channels too. I don't experience
You don't experience that. Okay.
Xyz TV is one of my favorite channels, so if you can work on that for us.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you so much for watching and joining the discussions. You heard him. Right, so I have Sedunam from Bawe, and I'm happy that it's a woman calling me. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I am very sorry. Leave me alone. Thank you for calling this morning. Please share your opinion with regards to the topic we're discussing.
Okay. Well, what I would say is, it is true, you know, naturally, you know, it is the women who are, they are to take care of the home. You see, if the man will help, it doesn't mean that is what the man is supposed to do. it is a matter of the man trying to help you because maybe you have given birth and you can't do a lot of things. So I think every man will do that. But you know, at times it is the women. As soon as the man starts washing, this woman will think that the man has to do the washing every day.
To get house.
No, but you see, this is where I have a challenge. In this 21st century, do we still have what the man is supposed to do, what the woman is supposed to do? Because now there are women who help the home financially as well.
Yeah, it is true. But you know what? You know what? All these things now, when it comes to relationships, there should be a role everyone has to play so that there will be balance.
I agree.
You see? So I think these days, as you have said, these days,
right,
people get married in so that they can help each other.
Right. So thank you, Sednam, for calling. I have another caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Edward.
Edward, that's our friend. Now, discussions now, topic now you're discussing, Mr. Not share opinion, why?
Discussion be fine, but in some people also can end again, because I see me or what. Let for the major and change MO. So what can I say? And then you money in an event, yes, and a man.
But I keep to be na mobile.
It will be a dozen because in a do also a ban so you be a manner. I say, or per se, fence, or should I say, fence, we are just a moon fucking.
Okay.
Yeah, my money in an episode.
Mate, me da say. You see, the women, why are you not talking?
You see, they are not talking because...
No. Don't bring any conspiracy theory. I have Rabi from Nima also on the line. Hello, Rabi. Good morning and thanks for calling.
Good morning. Thank you.
Oh, sweetheart.
Finally, you have won. 3-1.
Sweetheart, please find the fire for me.
She's talking for me.
Please.
Yeah, I think what my sister is saying is true. Like my life, for instance, it doesn't help you. Like when I give birth, even when I'm pregnant, I do everything. What I used to do when I'm not pregnant, even when I'm pregnant, that doesn't change. I do the same.
So
I buy the children. I buy the kids, do my washing, cook.
For him to come and eat.
Yes. He doesn't do anything.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yes. When I give birth, my mother is not around.
Oh.
They're not.
Oh.
I don't have any relatives around, so I do everything by myself.
By yourself. And how difficult has that been? Because Wisdom is here doing, see, I told you. How difficult is it to do all of this by yourself?
It's very difficult. It's not easy, especially when you give birth.
Yes.
Like the first week, those things.
Yeah.
If you are not even lucky, you fall sick.
It's true.
Because you don't get time to rest, take care of the baby, you cook, you wash, and you have maybe you have little ones at home. You have to take care of them as well.
Okay. So Rabi, thank you for sharing your opinion. I have another caller also on the line from Bono. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Hey, the men are taking over. This conversation is for the women. Thank you for calling. Please share your opinion.
I think there are some things that have been established in the past and then would have to be looked at or addressed.
Yes, I agree.
I just want to talk from a professional point of view because I'm a nurse. You know, there's a program such that pregnant women are supposed to be going for their antenatal clinic with their husband. But it will be sad to know that just a handful of men actually do this. There's even a system such that if you're a woman and then you go with your husband you are going to be attended to earlier than those that came without, to encourage men. But so men are not doing that. So there's very little support. The person here shouldn't be offended by this. But I watch a lot of times documentaries about how animals live. And you see that a lot of them, when you watch, when their female partners catch or give birth, they support them too. So that is how nature made it. But we have come out with a certain culture which doesn't actually frown at some of these things, which is not supposed to be so. Right. So men's support, the support of men is very little.
It's very little. I agree with you. Thank you for calling. Because of time, I would have to. I have a last caller. This is my very last caller on the line. Hello, good morning, and thanks for calling. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Morning.
Hey, the men. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, okay. Shall I drink that na why? When my last caller? Now I am fine. Now I am fine. Just thanks to all the callers that called in to contribute, and I am excited. Say most of the men called, and most of them spoke about helping their wives, contrary to what Wisdom is saying. Of course, this has been the social segment on the morning update on TV XYZ, proudly brought to you by X Natural Mineral Water and Black Secret Makeup. Also, Eric is coming now.
If I cry na menyisika, edia ye mefui.
Ehin fa na menya bosia, edia tre medjuma yimu.
Kai cry mabre, me bosia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yemamwakwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hyehyɛ ahodo bi te sɛ dwadifo abosia, ekukuro bosia, susu account, eni daso wo ho savings account, me bada chain savings account, ene de keka ho. Suhum Rural Bank was 034229186. Na won so wetumi aka sɛ
Suhum Rural Bank ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank enti me pa minie.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
We are one man short. Should we invite him?
Yes.
It be old cargo.
Can I join you guys?
Yeah. Always drink fresh, natural, X, mineral, water.
You still got it. Always keep hydrated naturally. That's my secret.
Manufactured with the primary aim of preserving nature's finest minerals necessary for a healthy mind and body. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Welcome back. This is TV Xyz. This is a morning update on Xyz TV on Facebook and YouTube. This morning, Edgar Redu is with us in the same trademark, insurance marketer, marketing what we can do really to look traditional. You are welcome, sir.
Yeah, my brother, how you doing?
I'm fine.
Good, good.
I like your trademark. If I would look for that cartoonist who puts a lot of interesting, controversial things on TV. So the moment they do something like this, everybody will say this is Edgar Redu.
About it, when they try to it won't come.
Are you sure?
Oh yeah, my spirit is something else.
You chop picture Emma.
Emma.
Now I don't know what you have to say about this conversation or controversy about whether the today woman is lazy or the today man is irresponsible and so on. Very exciting comments that came in there. I had a mother who took care of 7 children, 5 boys and 2 girls. All of them are alive and kicking. And I remember how my mother used to take care of us. Early morning, by 7:30, we should be at school. And between 5 a.m. and 7:30, she will cook akpele. She will prepare fetridechi that morning. While she's preparing it, the younger ones will jari omo. And at the same time, she's doing something. And so you realize that it has become a norm. And I don't know whether at that time she was being abused or she was conditioned to understand that these are household chores and let me take care of them. The today woman, a ben kwankra or see or sia and the woman wants to get a washing machine, get everything done. And I don't know whether the grooming is because of the size of our homes, the terms of what it used to be those days, poverty. These days, middle income homes are having everything easy for them, and so the thing the typical woman must do, you see, Juma. I don't know your opinion, boss.
Well, good morning to viewers.
Yeah, good morning.
I think it's all a question of the individual, how the individual wants to react to some of these things, because in my view, I don't think anything was crafted for a woman or a man. It is how you want your home to be.
To be.
Yeah. Unless, of course, we have to accept the fact that there are certain things that it is a woman's job. Okay? And I think it starts from that line. Because it starts from that line, we make it look like it is their job to the end of time. As you rightly said, your mom. So you give birth. It's you, the mother. You have to feed the baby. You got to do that, right? So as you do that, you put in this and that. You are talking about the fact that here, even when you are lying in bed, you realize that the baby has to be turned. The baby will do this. The mother will do this.
And all this time, the man is snoring.
These are things that nature crafted for a woman. But you see, the problem is this. Because the woman would feed the child, so it looks like as if it becomes a continuous something that should always be cooking for the child and whatever. But come on, if you're of age, I mean, you shouldn't expect that the woman should be doing all that for you. Who said that washing of clothes is the responsibility of a woman?
Nobody.
Yes. So, I mean, it's up to the, house. If the woman says she's going to wash, she'll wash. Who says the cleaning of the house is the responsibility of a woman? It's not the responsibility of a woman. It's cool. I mean, both of you, your home. So why should it be that this is the responsibility of a woman? No, I don't believe
so. The woman cannot be a slave in her own married home.
The word slave should not be part of our vocabulary at all, right? You've decided to come together to do whatever you want to do, right? But I'll tell you, in my home, right, what my woman does for me is to cook. I take care of the house. Her duty is cook. Let me eat, get energy, and take care of the home. I do the cleaning. I wash my own clothes. Even though my kids prefer to use washing machine, I wash my own clothes. All right? So when I come and then you admire me, I wash my own clothes, I press them myself, and make sure that, yes, this is how I want to be in my clothing.
Not because you have you are now a rich man, so
not because
you want to live large and let people serve you.
No, I don't believe in that. I wash my everything. I clean my own bathroom. At times I just tell them, hey, you know what? You get some money, go out there, have fun, whatever, just for them to leave the environment so I can have time,
peace of mind,
to clean to my satisfaction. Someone thinks that by whatever he should have a houseboy, he should have some servants. That is the person.
I'm learning a lot from Edgar. And now let's move on to our conversation this morning. This newspaper review, Edgar Redu is an insurance marketer, and many of you have enjoyed his contribution to our platform, which is making it bigger and bigger. This is Xyz TV. This is TVXYZ 0556 999 999. Send your text messages. This morning, there's a lot of conversation. National consensus building on how to fight the Galamsey menace. 4 years on, we are back to square one and want to have this conversation. It will be part of our talk this morning. Again, we also know that this morning, Ghana Water Company has sent notice that they are going to close the taps in the Tema Ashaman enclave for at least 4 or 5 days, next Tuesday to next Friday. There's a lot of concern that around this time when Muslims would need a lot of water for the ablution and so on, COVID and so on, Ashaman especially, because the enclave doesn't have a lot of boreholes, Ghana Water Company should be designing a lot of programs to ensure essential service providers are catered for. It will be part of this conversation. The bigger one is the controversial EU report on the 2020 elections. Pros and cons. It has made strong recommendations. We'll also look at that. But before that, I talked about a sad story. The death of about 15 people only yesterday. 12 on the Tamale Buipe Road. The second one on the Tesano stretch, which involved 2 passengers on board a commercial bus. And the third one at the University of Cape Coast, where a student was smashed by a speeding vehicle. It's so sad. I'll be taking a short break. When we come back, I'll deliberately play that report for you to hear exactly how it unfolded. I'll take brief comments from my guests and we'll move on with the rest.
We are one man short. Should we invite him?
Yes.
It be old cargo.
Can I join you guys?
Yeah. Always drink fresh, natural, mixed, mineral, water.
Still got it.
Always keep hydrated naturally. That's my secret.
Manufactured with the primary aim of preserving nature's finest minerals necessary for a healthy mind and body. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Welcome back. Edgar Redu is an insurance marketer. And I've also been joined by, I think the name is Frederick Yao Ahenkwa, is the MP for German North. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, sir.
No, you were, because of the two of you, I decided to put on mine. Just raise your voice. German North is a far area, very, very far from Accra.
Exactly.
And relatively deprived.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have a huge task ahead.
Exactly.
Did you make many promises?
Oh, not really.
Not really. We'll come to that. You are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
I just want to make it short. Before you joined us, we were talking about accidents on our roads.
Yeah.
Perhaps we'll just go ahead and talk about the conversation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a very brief report. Let's listen to it, and then we'll talk about how we are failing to bring sanity on our roads.
Police report says 11 passengers, including an 8-year-old, died on the spot after the gory accident on the Tamale-Bope Highway. The sad incident near Alipe in the central Gonja district of the Savannah region also left 7 others in critical condition. Witness account says a Toyota minibus with 18 passengers bounded for Kumasi veered off its lane and collided head-on with a DAF tipper truck. The DAF tipper truck driver, who was among the injured, also died later at the hospital. Back here in Accra, 2 persons also died after truck crashed into faulty trailer abandoned close to the Tesano police station. TV XYZ News has learnt this incident occurred around 4:30 a.m. Wednesday. Witnesses says a motor rider also crashed into the same faulty trailer before the truck was towed away. In Cape Coast, a level 100 student at the University of Cape Coast has been killed in a road accident. The deceased, who was reading Bachelor of Commerce, was reportedly knocked down by a speeding Sprinter bus. A statement signed by the university's Director of Public Affairs, Major Retired Kofi Ba Bentum, said a 19-year-old Priscilla Osuecha was in the company of friends when the Sprinter bus, which was overtaking another car, knocked her. In another incident, a minivan crashed after knocking down 2 robbers on motorbike at Sotium here in Accra. The 2 who were trapped in a nearby gutter with the oven bus were later arrested by police.
So, K. Nicholas did that voiceover for the sad story. We're not spending too much on this, but brief comments. Let me start with you, Fred. How does this come to you? Almost every week we talk about accidents.
Yeah. Thank you. Before I comment.
Yeah, just raise your voice.
Before I comment, I'll use this opportunity to extend my greetings to my constituents. It is through their offer that I'm here. So once I've gotten this bigger platform, I don't think I can pass any comment without first greeting them. And I know they are watching me from afar. So my greetings to all of them. On this carnage on our roads, I think this is a thing that repeats day in, day out. And I can confidently say, looking at the road carnage, it is one of the main source of claiming lives in this country, which we need to take a critical look at. One thing I have observed is that the major challenge comes from our drivers. Sometimes on our roads, although we don't have good roads, but I think when you are traveling, no matter the kilometers you are covering, if you exercise patience and then observe the regulations and then the necessary precautions, wherever you are going, even if it is 2 days, you will get to your destination.
Okay, so that's
the better comment. It is better you take your time and then you move and reach your destination than rather speeding and die in the middle of the road why you would not even get to your destination.
Okay, Edgar, briefly, insurance marketer.
Well, this is an area that falls directly under my purview, and then I've done a lot of work on it, and I continue to do a lot of work on that. I think that the problem we have in this situation is like the moral hazard. The authorities are not doing enough. If the authorities were doing enough in this area, certainly we would have the accidents reduced. You know, one of the things you must have, so far as you have many cars on the roads, accidents will definitely happen. But if you also put in the right structures, you definitely would reduce it. One of the things that struck me most is I just can't understand why a truck which has been abandoned in front of a motor traffic whatever department, that is at Tesano, the authorities failed to have that car removed. This happened in front of a police station. And the police people were sitting there how many hours knowing that the truck has been abandoned there, and they failed to act, and such an incident happened. The police people must all be fired. I mean, it's simple. It's different from you saying it is in some remote area that no one has seen, but this is in front of your police station. But then when the accident happened, that's when they were able to get a towing vehicle to tow the car. But when the car got spoiled, they didn't see the need to tow the car off the road. The police must be held for this accident.
So these are brief comments. It's not. We've been talking about accidents all the time, so we'll leave the rest to your breakfast table. This morning, the EU has issued its assessment of the 2020 election. The Observer Mission has also made a number of recommendations. I'm sure by this time my panelists have an idea about what is in there. Let me start with you, Edgar.
No, I'm not aware of the statement. I only saw a post.
Okay, so let me just read
some human beings saying that the elections were fair and something like that.
Yeah, the summary is that Ghana remains one of the countries observing democracy, which is excelling. The preamble said that the 2020 elections was generally free and fair, and they made. I was interested in the recommendations. For example, the EU Observer Mission is calling for clear procedures and directives for presiding and returning officers, as well as regional coalition officers, on how to handle disputes or irregularities during the counting and collation process, and so on and so forth. Need for the EC to publish on its website detailed polling station results and all the related issues. Review parliamentary constituency boundaries to adequately provide for equal suffrage to avert gerrymandering, like what happened in the Akpafu areas. Establishment of an inclusive mechanism for cross-party involvement in the selection and approval of EC chair and commissioners. Need for the EC to work with full transparency involving all the stakeholders. Adopt a law on campaign expenditure and how the candidates generate them, and establish a reasonable deadline for court ruling on parliamentary elections, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the recommendations he made, but generally it suggested that the 2020 elections was smooth, free, largely fair.
Well, I think that first of all, if I got it right, some of these recommendations that he's making are things that the EC had already put in place, because the EC itself, before the election, came out with a document, enumerated everything, if there are disputes, how they should be handled, what. I think the problem we have is with the citizenry, okay? What's the name?
Electorates.
The electorates themselves. The kind of enthusiasm, or should I say the zeal, what is actually within them as they go to the polls, right? Election in this country has become like a do and die affair. So people are so much emotionally charged, and so to that extent they lose their sense of reasoning. They are not prepared to listen to wisdom and what have you. It happens. If you recall, in the 2012 election, right, the 2012 election, it was even surprising, the special, the special voting that was done for the security, those who actually manned the main thing, the security, the media and all that. We saw a lot of policemen misbehaving, and soldiers, they themselves were misbehaving. simply because their names were not in the register. And some even wanted to disorganize the process. You know, so that you, the one who is supposed to go and then maintain peace, this is what you are doing. You see? So you can put the structures in place, but when it comes to the temperament of human beings, it's another matter altogether. Whilst you say, please, I'll be back, someone says, okay. Please, no, there's no please. It's all part of this. So dealing with human beings in that direction is a little difficult. But in terms of the processes and procedures and everything, they are all outlined in the EC's manual. So I don't think that one is, unless of course they want to suggest something, how do you call it, different. But
there's a school of thought that the EU Observer Mission's report did not actually reflect many things that Ghanaians saw in the elections through even the Supreme Court and how it handled the dispute, and for which reason could be something that will come back to haunt us going into 2024. For example, in this recommendation, the EU report is suggesting that the EC should publish all results, including polling station results. It is suggesting that the presiding and returning officer should be given some powers as to how they can handle issues at polling stations or collation centers, and not to allow people to use their discretion to announce the results in their own way.
That is what I'm saying.
It is asking for a time frame within which parliamentary disputes can be resolved, because as we speak, we know that there are about 26 parliamentary seats that are being contested in the courts. Meanwhile, the MPs have been sworn in. The president was sworn in before the Supreme Court ruled that Akufo-Addo is the legitimate president. But within a time frame, the presidential election was resolved. Techiman South yesterday, the judge said he will not allow anybody or any of the parties in the dispute to delay the process, because the people must have a representation without any rancor on the ground that the person is not the rightful person and so on. So these things have come about. But if the generalization is that what the Observer Mission is putting out there is not reflecting the violence, the arm twisting, even during the compilation of the register through the processes till the election results were declared, some feel that then what is the essence of having them coming around as third parties to comment on our elections?
First of all, we must understand the locus. You know, we must understand the authority and then the power that these observer missions do have. It's just like the way some of us would also come and sit here, right? We see problems and then we profile solutions. But as to whether the government will take it or not is another matter. You get it? You are an observer mission. That does not give you the right or entitlement to think that what you're putting out there is sacrosanct. As I said, this issue relating to our presiding officers and things must handle this thing. It's all in the manual. When you go to the EC manual, it is stated step by step, number 2. Now, in terms of court processes, you know, the Supreme Court decided that, look, with the election petition, so far as the presidential petition matter is concerned, it's not going to take more than 42 days or something. They said it's there, right? Cases in court, you see, as they say, the law is in the bosom of the judge. You see, so we have to look. So the judge decides that, look, this particular matter, okay, I want to take 1 month to deal with this matter, period. It's all up to the judge. You understand? Someone will say that if this is what you are talking about, why is election so important as against other aspects of things that are happening? Why can't the court decide that cases that come before them will not go beyond 6 months? You know, I mean, it's a bigger picture, because we know people who have been litigating for the past 10, 15 years. Some have even died. They have not gotten what they want and what have you. Somebody is looking for money. There's one case that I happen to know of. The person was looking for 14,000 cedis, not the Ghana cedi, 14,000 euros. No, cedi. which I don't know in today's
14,000.
So maybe it's like 1 CD, maybe it's like 1 CD 40 pesos or something.
14 that 1 CD.
Like 1 CD, it was 14,000. The lady litigated that. At the end of the day, when they checked the expenses, her transport in and out,
the legal fees and so on,
it was more than the 40. You know, so some of these things, it's all up to the whole system. If you want speedy trials, you decide that this is what you want to do. But then if someone decides that he's going to allow the case to run till thy kingdom come. Look, let's say you are talking about in 1996, 1996, Ayawaso West Wogon. Okay. There was a contest between, is it Rebecca Adote and then Isaac Amu. Okay. The same issue of challenging the parliamentary results. The case went on for 4 years. And the date they pronounced judgment was the day that parliament was over. So even though they declared Isaac Amu the winner of that election, that day they declared him the winner, that parliament's life had come to an end. 4 years, the case was in court. You see? So it's all up to the whole judicial system. If they think that there's a need for us to upscale these things, make some serious, amendments in our cases. And I think because there's a certain kind of opening, the lawyers also take unnecessary advantage. But it's up to the judge to stop them. Because somebody can come, have you received, I just received this affidavit, so I need some time to study the affidavit. Then the judge, to as lazy as he is okay, adjourn for the next 2 months. That sort of thing. But any serious judge will tell that, okay, you've seen it, tomorrow come back. You'll be forced to do it. You get it? So it's all up to the judge.
Okay, so Frederick, he's made some strong points here. I remember before the 2020 elections, when the NDC felt that institutions in the country which can add their voice to get things done the way they wished was not going to happen, they started asking the international community, the diplomatic community, to show interest in what is happening in Ghana. So I remember, for example, that former President John Mahama on 1 or 2 occasions said he was asking the international community to come in and observe the process. They have done the observation, and their verdict is that the elections was largely free and fair. They also affirmed the fact that Nana Akufo-Addo won contrary to NDC's position, and then they have made a number of recommendations. I've listened to a few of the NDC activists, and it appears as if you're not happy at all about what the EU has done. You called for them to come as third parties, and the third parties have virtually said what Nana Akufo-Addo said during the State of the Nation address, that the elections was free and fair, which is an endorsement.
Thank you. On the EU report, what I would say is that entirely I cannot rubbish the report. There are certain observations and recommendations which I think are legitimate, which as a country we need to take a critical look at. Although certain things were said in the report which were not the true reflections of what happened during the compilation of the register, other processes leading to the voting, counting, and then announcing of a subsequent winner in all the elections when it comes to presidential and then parliamentary. I will take you back. During registration, to the EC report that the whole process was free and fair and then transparent. But yourself and I will attest to the fact that during the registration period, legitimate Ghanaians who are living outside this country, they are from Ghana, but because of their occupation and other things, some of them were in Togo. I am from a border constituency. We have brothers and sisters in the Ivory Coast. Okay? When you go to Banda, we have our brothers from the Volta region who have moved from the Volta region to stay in Banda because of the breeder, they've taken advantage of that to do fishing. But I can tell you confidently that these people, these legitimate Ghanaians, were prevented from registering using the state security apparatus. Military were detailed to all these areas. We know what happened in Aflao. Even in my place, all the entry routes were packed with security men just to prevent Ghanaians who happen to be outside the country not to register. So I believe this was not the best practice. And how do you capture this as fair?
Government's position at the time was not to deploy them there to prevent people from coming in to register, but was to prevent people from coming in because they were enforcing COVID-19 protocols, and at the same time, because terrorism was creeping in from the Upper Volta area, today Burkina Faso, and some parts of Togo, they had to put the men there to secure our borders for our own security.
Okay, is COVID over?
COVID is not over.
The security threat that we are facing as a country, are we out of that threat?
Are you suggesting the military men have been
removed? They have been removed. They are not there. So I can tell you, they were detailed there just for the purposes of the registration. And once we are done with it, they've all been removed. So I cannot accept this as a fair and a transparent practice. That is why I said I accept some recommendations and I agree with them. But I also disagree with them on most of the things that they capture.
Now let's look at the recommendations they have made. Some of the recommendations talk about the roles of key actors, returning officers, presiding officers. Another one talks about collective input in the election of the EC chair and commissioners, and it even goes ahead to talk about giving them shorter tenure in office to build the credibility, and suspicions around such personalities perhaps would be reduced. Then it goes ahead to talk about the need for results to be fully published. Now, if you look at about 10 or 12 recommendations in all, it talks about the need for more electoral reforms. Are we there, or as Edgar put it, don't we have enough that we as a people, all political parties and actors, IPAC, anybody, should help entrench and enforce in terms of implementation, rather than going to waste time again on long book talk?
I agree with them when it comes to, I think we have the laws. Like my senior brother said, the laws are there. We have them in our books, on the cabins, gathering dust and other things. Our problem as a country is that we have so many laws. Day in, day out we pass laws, but do we actually put those laws into enforcement? That is a problem. So we as a people, we need an attitudinal change, so that whatever law that we develop, we will not brush it aside, but we will use it to the benefit of the entire country. You see, when it comes to elections, the laws are there. But do we really comply with what we have on paper?
When you say comply, what really are you referring to?
Yes, I'm referring to the infractions, omissions, and then deliberate acts that goes into our electoral processes. As I said, we have laws that governs every step, every stage of our electoral process. But you get to the field and different things have been done. We have it as a convention that during registration, we don't allow people from adjacent constituencies to troop into other, either maybe from A to B. When we talk about adjacent constituencies like Adenta and Medina, they are two adjacent constituencies. And because of political gerrymandering, we don't allow people, because if I am in Adenta, for instance, and then I have relatives in Medina. Although my relatives are not residents in Adenta, but because I have them there, and then the proximity from Medina to Adenta is so close, I can easily take advantage. Once I have the resources, transport them from Medina to Adenta, register them to outnumber whosoever I am contesting with. But sometimes politicians will side with electoral officers, and the electoral officers know that what they are doing is not right. But because we can't enforce the laws, they take advantage of that.
Let me talk to
and they
Edgar
do
briefly.
Whatever that they want.
Edgar.
So as I said, these things are there. If somebody goes against the law and the whip is cracked, I think that will serve as a deterrent to others. When it comes to resource coalition, there are a lot of things that goes in there. Most of these things that happen, they are deliberate. Oh. They are deliberate. Even when it comes to recruitment of EC officials, you know, apart from the EC director at the constituency level, and then the secretary there, the rest of the workers are temporary staff. They recruit them for the purposes of elections, and immediately those elections are out, they move out. So when they are recruiting, sometimes they do it in such a way that they will get people who are in a line with a particular candidate. Sometimes you raise queries about such people and they will tell you, come and show evidence. You see, I will take my constituency as an example. Most issue officials who normally come to do the EC work, I can tell you that they are political opponents.
And you were not able to provide proof.
Where is the proof?
So why would you conjecture?
Conjecture, we know ourselves. We know ourselves. You see the person clearly that this person belongs to this political party. But when you raise the concern, they will tell you, come and produce an evidence.
I'll definitely come back to you because we are not stopping at your first comment on this particular issue. But while he admits that the laws are there, there is another subtle concern there, and it was raised by Dr. Zubeiru, senior lecturer at the Accra Technical University, that in view of the precedent that we have set, if we don't take time, there will be chaos in 2024.
Exactly.
Where people can take the law into their own hands, declare their own results, and EC may not be bound to explain how come those results were there, and the courts perhaps may look on, as we witnessed, in how some want to put it at the Supreme Court.
Well, I totally disagree if that is the position. You see, maybe because I'm not into politics, I see things differently. Because when I get to listen to politicians, at times they are irritating and annoying. They are so fixated in their personal things, do and die, as I said earlier. So even when common sense is there, they fail to see common sense. That for me has been the problem with politicians. You know definitely that this thing that you are doing is not the right thing, is not in the interest of the state, but political expediency. I ask myself a simple question. When will an NDC man stand in parliament and say, I agree with what the NPP is saying? When will an NPP man stand in parliament and say, I agree with what the NDC is saying? They are not there for the interest of Ghana. They are there for the interest of their party, what the party says. So even if what the party is saying is total rubbish, we have to go by it. That is not how you build a country. You realize that we are you listen to some people and it is like, if this party is not in power, I'm virtually a useless man. Why should it be so? Why should it be so? You see, we've allowed politics to take us into a certain area that at times it defies simple logic. What are you arguing about? There is a law. Whether the law is good or bad, that is what the law says. If the law is bad and we don't want it, change it. For me, that has always been my position. This is what the law says. The law says that this bottle must be here. Right? And common sense can say, look, if this bottle is here, maybe the rays of the whatever or the infrared what may have some effect on it. Okay? So what do? Amend the law to remove it. But not until the law has been amended. That is what the law says. And that is why in certain cases people realize that a law is bad. So they will not even want to apply it. They want to go by, some way. We have some laws in our books. We have some laws in our books. And we've come to realize that if you want to apply some of these laws, looking at the way, the dynamism of the world, the way things change and what have you, if you say you want to apply them, it is rather going to send us back.
Now, Edgar, are you not oversimplifying the issue?
You are rather oversimplifying it because somebody says.
Okay,
because somebody says, you are over. I'm rather bringing your attention to the fact that if there's a law, follow the law.
Let me try to justify my narration that you are oversimplifying the issue. The reality on the ground is that there have been instances where results have been declared other than the returning officers. There are instances where people have brought evidence to show that figures that were provided didn't reflect the situation on the ground. There are instances where there was clear indication that there was an attempt to suppress people from registering. The laws are very clear. Now, if institutions of state, including civil society, have made their point, if observer groups make their point, and we are all looking at how to build this democracy, and things don't seem to be addressing the issues as they are, and are only using flowery language around them, is that suppression of truth not likely to explode tomorrow, and for which reason we may have to look at a better way than saying, okay, the laws are there, if it's not implemented, let's blame ourselves?
I miss Obeda Samoa. Obeda Samoa on one point was reacting to issues like this, and he said, you know what, if you want to believe in manufactured stories, then go along with them. Who has been suppressed from registering? My brother talked about an issue, you raised the point, and he came back to ask a question. The security that were sent around the whole country from border to border there, right? And the argument was, yes, trying to avoid whatever coming in and what have you. But you see, the funny thing was that it happened at a certain time. The time the thing happened, it happened at the time that the election was, the registration was about to happen or whatever it is like. It's very common knowledge for anybody to conjecture what it is like. Okay. The next thing too is this. He asked the question: is COVID still not around? So why are those people not there?
And the security threats too.
Why
they are still facing that danger.
They are facing it. So then, what it means is that, as I said, for me, I always look at things from two sides: from the commonsensical position and then from logic. I'm not in conjecture. Just want to look at it from common sense and then logic. So he raises a point, right? Then someone would have said that, oh, then maybe let's go back and see. If the people are not there, then of course questions and answers are supposed to be in place. You get it? But when it comes to, I remember I was on the program with you like this, and then we are talking about some licenses that have been withdrawn by the Eslawusu and some human beings and things like that. And I said to you that, you see, the problem we have in this country is this. We all agreed that we want a certain rule of law to be in place. And that rule of law is what we call the Constitution. We agreed on the 28th of April 1992 that this is what we want to be our guiding line in this country. So we all agreed to have the Constitution. In this Constitution, we agreed that in order to not blow you and face costs and things, if we have problems, we'll go to the courts to go and settle it. so that we avoid fiscals and things. So we all agree that that is how we want our nation to run. If you think something is going wrong untoward, like you say, you have denied me, right, which is a fundamental human right, civil rights actually, right? Why stop me? I just need to go to court. If I can go to court and I want to stand in the street and shout, would I get what I want?
Now, see, Edgar.
No, I'm coming to a point. I'm coming to a point. There are a couple of cases that have gone to court like that. I remember this gentleman, Brigadier Tenadi. Tenadi was out of the country. They did their registration. When he came, they said the registration is over. All right? So they should register him. Alfred John and his people said they won't register him. He went to court, and the court ordered that he must be registered.
And he was registered.
But
he is an individual.
No, yes, of course. If he has sat down, if he has sat down,
you see, perhaps.
No. The question is this: if you are saying he's an individual, it does not come in as an individual. The question is, he realized his rights was being abused. He didn't stand in the streets. He went to the right place.
Yes,
exactly. So if other people are there and they want to stand in the street and make noise, that is their cup of tea.
Frederick, I'll come to you. Edgar, just to stay with you a little, and then I'll spend time with Frederick, is that was then. There is a school of thought today, and many people may agree or disagree that Ghanaians are divided about their trust in the court. That's a fact. And Ghanaians are divided in the trust of, let's say, the EC. Ghanaians perhaps are divided in the trust of how state institutions or those actors, i.e. security agencies, are being used to enforce the laws we have in Ghana. And the constitution is right. For example, nobody knows tomorrow, but there was a process where people felt their birthright was being abused, i.e. used to deny them the opportunity to register. There's a school of thought that we have held an election and the Supreme Court or other institutions may have been used in one way or the other to deny us our right. Now, the fear is that people have vowed that it will never happen again. And so I would rather fight for my right on the street to the last drop of my blood than to go to those institutions. Now, if these are concerns, whether it is right or wrong, true or false, how do we prepare ourselves going forward?
You see, I come back to the point I'm making. It is not your feeling. It is not what you feel. It is what the laws of the land says. When you go to your village, you have norms. You have traditional things you got to do. Someone will sit there and say, this is total rubbish, but that is what is expected of you. So we are not talking of emotions. Who is saying that he has been denied of his birthright? If you don't understand it, as I said, go to the court. It is not what you feel. The fact that you didn't win the case in court doesn't mean that then the court is not good. Then everybody who loses a case in court will say the court is not good. And everyone who wins a case in court will say the court is good. These are just unnecessary things that we are wasting a precious time on. Let me tell you something here. This issue of nationality, who is a Ghanaian and all that kind of thing, right? For me, one of the things, my first thought of this thing, right, as the Supreme Court rules, it says that, look, Massa, it is not the question of a birth certificate that makes you a Ghanaian.
Not paperwork.
Not paper. It is by descent. Descent is a natural being, okay? And I'll tell you something here. And I had read a judgment in 1969 by my father, right? When the National Liberation Council wanted to deport Olympio.
Togolese Olympio.
Yes, Olympio. They wanted to deport him. And then the case went to court. And then they proved the case. I said, no, the man's grandmother was a bread maker at somewhere in Adabraka, whatever it is like. That is natural descent, bloodline. That is what makes you where you are coming from and this. Until recently, people even talk about what? We need to qualify what even a hometown is. We even talk about the hometown. When you say your hometown, you want to assume your hometown is where maybe your father hails from or where you are coming from and things. But now somebody tells you that if someone says a hometown, it's
where you grew up.
Where you grew up. Or where you grew up or where you have stayed for a long time. So it's hometown.
Well, I don't know whether I come from Abo or I come from Commander, because that's where I grew up.
That is it. So that is what the hometown. So not necessarily maybe your grassroots were something. So some of these things, as I said, let's stop emotions, because you see, when emotions take place, reasoning is thrown down.
Okay, I knew you wanted to come in, so no question.
Yeah,
respond to some of the issues.
Like you said, when it comes to issues like this, we have the laws. Not that we don't have the laws, we have the laws, but the enforceability of the law is the problem that we have as a country. And as I was saying, we have, I don't know where you come from, actually.
No, they say where you stay or where you grew up.
But entirely, and that cannot be true.
That is. You see, this is what the problem is. You see, this is what the problem is. If you say hometown, it is not what you are saying. There are language, there's words, there's vocabulary. If you don't understand a word, the simple place is to go to the dictionary to go and find what the meaning of that word. Now, if you Google right now and you put the hometown, you see what it is telling you. It tells you that, right, where you have stayed for long, or you are residing and things like that.
Yeah.
But the ordinary man knows that when he's talking about the hometown, he's probably referring to a village.
What is the Ghanaian definition of hometown?
You see, that is the argument I always say. It is not a question of
what you Google is somebody's definition based on the
then don't use that word, because that is the. Then don't say this is Ghana English.
But Dumso,
no, wait.
We introduced Dumso.
There's a Dumso is your language, because Dumso is not an English word.
Well, let him learn.
So if you want to use the word English language, then use it well. You cannot say what do you call it? In my country, cell phone means something else. Okay, there's nothing like what is it. The word is there. English language. This is what it means. If you want to use your language, go and use your language, but don't use that word.
So fine. We can use the words. We can change them. We can make all manner of arguments. But as a country, you see where our politics has landed us. Now, as Ghanaians, which legal document now can a person use in this country to prove his nationality? Do you have any document?
Oh yes, we
now ask. What is that document?
We started with the Ghana card coming in. We started with the voter ID, because the voter ID is even very clear. Voter ID is very clear that it is only Ghanaian. No. I mean, you're a parliamentarian. You should know better.
I'm coming.
No. You should don't laugh at it. You should know better.
Yeah, I know better. That is what I'm asking.
Wait a minute. You cannot tell me that a voter ID is not a recognition of a Ghanaian. You can't tell me that, because it's only Ghanaians who hold voter ID. So that is enough proof that you are Ghanaian, because Ghana card. So Ghana card. So you believe foreigners having Ghana card that is stated on it.
So you believe everybody in this country holding a voter ID card is a Ghanaian?
My brother.
Then why did we call for
that
new registration prior to 6 months to elections?
No, my brother.
So going very well. That is why I was saying, not that we don't have the laws. The laws are there, but enforceability and then our commitment to the laws is a problem. You know, we are part of ECOWAS. The ECOWAS convention, prior to elections, 6 months to prior elections, we don't compile a register, which we all know. Don't we sign treaties? We sign treaties.
Our treaties superior. Our treaties superior. Our treaties superior to our constitution.
Are we also not part of those?
No, you are part of it. But let's get let's get the fundamentals right. Are you saying
you let me land? When you were talking, I didn't interject.
No, okay, you are making a point here.
Edgar, let him land.
No, he made a very strong.
Let me land. You said so many things.
Okay, no, you land.
I didn't agree.
And let's not forget that we are discussing the EU recommendation.
These are the recommendations that is leading to all these things. You see, so what I'm saying is that why did we throw out that old register, and then we had to compile
explicit from EC's position
that it is over bloated,
right?
And then we have foreigners,
of course,
Who are the foreigners? How do we establish somebody's nationality? Somebody had an old voter register card, which the person used the very card to vote in 2016 and then subsequent years.
The argument is that the Supreme Court took a decision. EC implemented the recommendation, and we are where we are.
And that is why
the fear is that if there is indeed any issue of concern as the NDC is raising, there's the need for us to address them now before it is too late tomorrow. So in summary, do you think we should go in for major electoral reforms now, or we should stay with the existing laws and get it adequately implemented?
The existing laws that we have are not all that bad. There are certain amendments we can make on the existing laws. And I believe when we do that, the next election that is ahead of us will be very peaceful. Because I see a looming danger. I see a looming danger. Where the law is there, we decide not to use the law, but we try to do things that will satisfy our interest. If whatever you do put me at a disadvantage, the next time when the entire process begins, I will begin thinking about how I will also protect my interest. Okay? And I don't think this will be good for the future of this country.
Now, Edgar, so let me take your conclusion.
Where we vote, results are counted at polling stations, and when we get to collation centers, we don't even see the paper on which we have collated the result. Yet, we proceed to announce winners. Do you follow the Techman case? Are you following it?
I'm following.
Yes. What is the relationship?
We all know the story, but
so what I'm saying is that don't let us brush this thing under the carpet. These things that we are saying has the potency of plunging this country into chaos. And then the better we handle these issues, I think the better it will inure to the benefit of this country.
So third parties are supposed to come in to help the international community to appreciate that what the people are doing as members of the global community at large is appropriate. Now, if there's the indication that the EU report was silent on some critical issues, would it be necessary for anybody to trust them to come in going forward? Because tomorrow another party may also complain.
Oh, these things are just ceremonial. They are not binding. You see? You are just doing
they are binding.
They are not binding.
Have you realized that in Kenya and in some other African countries, when observers collectively agreed that the election was not free and fair and so on and so forth, they used the powers they have to get things done rightly?
Let me tell you something here. Let me tell you something here. You see, it's just like a government setting up a commission of inquiry. Okay. Yeah, something like that. And at the end of the day, the government will issue a white paper on that. Okay. It is up to the government to accept or to reject. It's not binding on the government that accepts. That is why in all the time when you have commissions of inquiry or special reports and things
like the IRS who are gone one.
Forget about the
IRS. It looks as if the international community reacts to violence. Yeah. In countries where you don't see anger or disagreement escalate to the extent that houses are being burned, people are being killed. They just issue statements and make it look like things.
And now I'm saying that, you see, and that is what I wanted my brother to understand here. First of all, we are in this country, we recognize treaties, we recognize customs, we recognize this. But the supreme law of the land reigns. It is what our constitution says. Unless, of course, you have certain gray areas. Certain gray areas, and then you want to bring in some one or two things to help you address the matter. But the supreme law of the land is what matters. Okay? Now, one of the things that I want my brother to, and I think I argued on this matter, the Constitution, the Constitution tells you the candidate, how do you call it?
The candidate.
The Constitution tells you the candidate that get your agents
well trained.
Get your agent and let them collect your results for you. It's in the Constitution. It is not even in the CIO. Not in the, it's in the Constitution itself. It says you, the parliamentary candidate, get your agents to collect your results for you. So, if let's say my brother's constituency, he has about 100 polling stations. At the end of the day, his 100 polling agents should be able to bring to him the figures that they collected and signed. And common mathematics, somebody will say common arithmetic.
But that is not similar to what happened in Fisherman's
please. You see, so that's what I'm saying. If somebody says that if you decide to sit on your right or decide to do what you want to, that's your problem. Okay? So the point is this, I'm making a point. So at the end of the day, the law says do this for yourself. So if you have done it, and then you know that, okay, from all the 100 pink sheets, that I have, this is the figure that should be announced at the collation center. If there's a difference in that figure, you have your pink sheets, you challenge that figure in court. Simple.
Which is happening.
Exactly.
What is happening?
So then why all the noise?
It's happening. Why the noise? So
we have just about
the noise to go. The noise, I have to answer. The noise is because the noise is because we don't act swift. See, Techiman, what happened? Do we know there is somebody in Parliament who is representing the people of Techiman? No, it is just a rhetorical. Listen, do you know we have somebody in Parliament who is representing the people of Techiman? But truly, collation was not done. Okay, but the issue, I am not going into the court issues. But now we have been in Parliament for 3 months now. We are on recess.
That is why in the recommendation, the EU observer.
So I'm just veering towards that angle. I'm veering towards that. So what I want to say is that on this issue is that, you know, when it comes to presidential elections, and then there are disputes, okay, as to who wins, who has not won. The recent CI that has been made stipulates that I think within 42 days, there should be an education on the matter to declare who is the rightful winner.
Which happened?
Okay. I think the same thing should be done to the parliamentary side.
I'm running away from...
So that when it comes to disputes in the parliamentary elections, that will also be fast-tracked. And then the people will get their right representative.
Thanks. I want you to stop there. Now, 10 minutes more. You can't say much. It will be a conversation going forward. But this national consensus or dialogue on how to stop the Galamsey menace, the president says it should not be politicized. And we know in the past there was we called it all hands on deck approach.
Yeah.
And we can draw our own conclusions whether it worked, it was abused, or it failed. I'll leave it to you. 3 minutes uninterrupted. You will do 3 minutes uninterrupted. I'll read text messages. So Edgar, let me start with you. 8:51.
Totally unnecessary. My position has always been the fact that mining in this country must stop. We need the land more than the gold in the soil. Without the land, without the trees, without the
water bodies,
everything, we are useless as human beings because we cannot exist. Those lands could be used in a better way that can bring more money than the gold. The gold we are talking about, China produces more gold than Ghana. China is number one.
Okay.
Australia, the USA.
You are talking about today?
I'm saying they have more gold than Ghana. Even South Africa.
Yeah, that's what
South Africa have a lot of reserves that Ghana do not have.
Yeah, so if you're talking about reserves,
I'm not saying I said
the narrative has always been that this country is the first. This country is the second.
I said they even have more reserves than we have.
Okay,
just that they don't
mine it. It's like oil and US.
No, you see, the common sense approach is this: go to all these countries and ask whether they have devastated their lands like the way we have done.
Meanwhile, they mine.
They mine. They don't do that to their soil, right? How can you sit in this country and Anglo Gold Ashanti will work for 22 years or 20 years and give you just 2.2 billion? Just 2.2 billion. When in 1 year alone, cocoa can give you 1 point something billion.
And even cashew.
And you are wasting the soil. So all that land that we are mining on, imagine if we have gone to add more cocoa trees and things on those lands. What would we have got as a country? And interestingly, right, you look at a country like Japan, they don't have one single mineral. It's a rocky country, but they're among the top 5 of this world. When you go to South Korea, what do they have? South Korea, one company alone, Samsung, a quarter, the money they make in the quarter, just one company, is what Ghana's whole 1 year GDP is. Your country, all the suffer you suffer and everything.
But the reality is, it won't happen. That there will be a policy that no mining in Ghana.
So then that is what I'm saying, that we are bound to fail because it is a wrong direction that we have taken. Okay, look, my brother, have you had the opportunity to go around those areas to see the things that are there?
I have.
And you think it is something that must be encouraged?
But I know
just because of some
you made reference to South Africa.
Yeah.
If you look at Canada, you look at Australia,
yeah,
you look at China,
yeah,
they are doing mining in their countries.
Yes.
They are doing it responsibly. It's environmental friendly. The laws are strictly enforced.
Exactly.
Politicians have not infiltrated to manipulate the system. Institutions are strong. They don't respect people because of who they are. In our country, Galamsey, politicians are deep rooted. The institutions, from the courts to the MMDAs, all of them are on payrolls. Traditional authorities have been influenced heavily, where they have become subcontractors, supplying either poultry products or doing some menial jobs and so on. At the end of the day, we are where we are. This national consensus is saying that if we all put our hands on deck, then if it is A, we say it's A. Can we get there?
We did this in 2017. This consultative thing we are talking about, we did it in 2017.
It didn't work.
We did it before we agreed that there should be some. They went to Burma camp to launch some soldiers.
Anti-Galamsey.
We did this consultative thing. We did it. Then we brought in the soldiers to go and do whatever it is like. And then later we got all manner of people coming in. And then some people were at the presidency. They were accused of whatever it is like. When Martin Amidu was investigating somebody, the presidency says we have cleared this man and all those kind of things. So it is very simple. I said, so far as we have countries in this world who do not have a single mineral,
and they are progressing,
and they are surviving.
Not that they are surviving, they have quantum leaped. Then there is no point. Then there's no point for us to go and then mess out the soil up.
Edgar's strong point I subscribe to, but whether it is easy is another one. Do you think we can get anything positive out of it? Because the president spoke and said he's not going to listen to rumors. And so if people will want to say he's protecting his own appointees deeply involved in illegal mining or the abuse we have realized, they should bring evidence. Is it a good signal for this consensus building that we have entered again?
Not at all. Not at all. When we talk of evidence, which other evidence is he asking for? We have footages where monies are exchanging hands, okay, from one person to the other. Others are officials we have entrusted certain key positions into their hands to handle matters. And here is the case, we see those very people exchanging monies and other things.
So we want to go forward.
So when we talk of evidence, which other evidence do we want? Recently there was a video going around where we have state securities, that's the military, that are being paid from the consolidated fund. The very military that is supposed to protect our water bodies, to protect our lands and the forestry, they were there protecting Chinese illegal miners operating. And the video is in circulation. So if the president is telling us that he is not going to go by hearsay and what have you, what is the hearsay? The video is in circulation. What has he done about it? So if after all this, you call again for us to sit down and dialogue, the way forward. What shows if people even bring their ideas and the ideas are put together that this is the way forward, they are not going to violate whatever they have put on
so
paper.
Frederick,
so like Mr. Edgar said, left to me alone, we should leave the mineral down there to rest.
And then we
see my place. Me, okay. I'm from
Frederick,
farming.
I want to do a few text messages.
Okay.
A few text messages. Mr. President, I'm not sure you are determined to enforce laws against Galamsey because we have heard this promise before. Efiekuma Ablade sent this. This one says, good morning, Mr. Eric. We Ghanaians know that a far difference between nation builder, President John Mahama, and short-cutting Nana Akufo-Addo. This one says, it's from Eben in Kwabenya. If I may ask, since when did this incompetent president realize that it's through dialogue illegal mining can be fought? I won't read all the text messages, the lengthy ones, because a lot of them are here. Eric, the Attorney General is not concerned about Santo Krofi, Akpafulolobi, and Likpe, who does not have a rep in Parliament, but will have solace in infidelity. Shameful. Stephen from Kabenya sent this. We have Nkoswo Heni Nana Akon from East Legon, Accra. Mr. President, you need to take proper measures by punishing your big men who are bringing in those Chinese illegal miners. It's the same message I've just clicked. This one says, from Masawudu in Kumasi, President Nana Akufo-Addo's government will continue to roll out social interventions that will provide equal opportunity for development for all Ghanaians. Regards to Honorable Asenso Boache. This one is from Abdul Basit. The able president, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, Vice President, and Mustafa Hamid, and names on and on, is not being able. Sorry, it goes on. I'm just jumping the text message because you are mentioning a lot of names. Ghana is not being downgraded to lower middle income country. The news is false. And it talks about let's support government, VRA, Gridco, and so on. This one says, nice discussion. Edgar is solid, and I like your new MP in the studio. I don't know whether you are the first time MP. The first time MP. Yes, last one. Good morning, boss. The president's own people are doing illegal mining, so how can he stop them because he himself is benefiting? The time is up. Edgar, one word. Edgar, one word to Ghanaians. One word. Time is up.
My only word to Ghanaians is we shouldn't mind the politicians. We should just leave them. That's all.
Okay. One word. Oh, let's go.
Oh, one word.
Oh, is one word.
One word for Ghanaians is that there's hope. Okay.
Okay.
I believe with this current parliament that we have.
Okay. Thank you. So Frederick, Frederick Yao Ahinkwa is the MP. Ahinkwa is MP from German North. And then Edgar Redu is an insurance marketer. Tomorrow is Nana Abena Sewe's birthday. Yeah, it's on Saturday, but tomorrow I'll celebrate the birthday here. On her behalf, I want to say thank you to everybody, the production team. I don't have time to mention your names, but you are good as always. Bye for now.
It was like